Welcome back. Today, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump will remain on the state's primary ballot. Lawsuits have been filed in more than 25 states trying to boot the former president off the ballot, accusing him of violating the 14th Amendment.
Just last week, Colorado's high court disqualified Trump from appearing on the ballot in the state's primary, a ruling the Trump team's already appealed to the Supreme Court. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Randy Zelin. Randy, good to see you. Thank you for being here with us. So what do you make of this, I'm going to call it a Democrat effort, to not try to beat Donald Trump in an election, but to beat him before the election by taking him off the ballot for these primaries in 25 states?
Well, comparing Michigan to Colorado is kind of like saying, you're not going to let me on your program because I'm not wearing a suit and tie, which is a procedural ground. That's what happened in Michigan, as opposed to putting me on and people not liking the fact that I'm not wearing a suit and tie and saying you're never having me on again. That's a substantive reason. So in Michigan, they never reached the point as to whether or not the former president engaged in an act in an act of insurrection. They simply said, we're not there yet, and therefore he can stay on the ballot.
Well, it's okay. It's after 5 o'clock, Randy, so we will always let you on the show without a suit and tie. I like the casual element. It livens it up. But, I did want to ask you, because this is a win in a potential swing state that does feel key for President Trump. But a big issue that I had with the Colorado decision was that it equated allegations to fact, that there was no due process, that President Trump, regardless of what you think, was not convicted by a jury.
You are brilliant more than you know, because the argument really is the word engage. And who is it to determine whether or not the former president engaged in an act of insurrection? He hasn't been convicted, which is a criminal burden of proof. He hasn't been found liable, which would be a civil burden of proof. So you're absolutely right. Who's determined whether or not he's actually engaged in an act of insurrection?
Well, also, it would be nice if you're going to accuse the president of being an insurrectionist, that he would actually be charged with insurrection, which he has not been charged with, and it's a crime. But let's move to this, Randy, because despite the U.S. Supreme Court striking down Biden's student loan bailout scheme, the administration's been working hard behind the scenes to do a little work around the court's ruling. They've done it 3 times to be exact.
So in July, he announced that more than 800,000 borrowers would have $39 billion worth of debt bailed out in October. He forgave another $9 billion, and just this month, another $4.8 billion. And so if you add it all up, that is $52.8 billion in total that's forced onto taxpayers this year. That's more than 80% of which don't have any student loans at all. So Randy, my question to you, we've seen that lawsuits have been filed to push back on those decisions that President Biden made. Congress is getting involved. But what's the legal path forward here? Because President Biden has teased that he plans to cancel even more in 2024, right before the election.
And that is the challenge. We've learned as early as grade school. The legislature makes the laws. The executive branch enforces the laws. The courts interpret the laws. And here, what the president is doing, it's like, if at first you don't succeed, well, I am going to keep trying. So the Supreme Court says, you know something, you don't have the power to do what you did. You can waive, you can make adjustments, you can modify because of September 11th, but you can't just wholesale cancel out student debt. So the Supreme Court says you can't do it, and the president says, well, I'm going to try again. So once again, it will come down to whether or not the HEROES Act, which is the law, actually gives the president the power just to say, the hell with the student debt, as opposed to, again, making modifications, making tweaks, again, all in the backdrop of a crisis like September 11th.
All the while, Joe Biden says there's a death to democracy and Republicans are a threat to democracy, and he's playing appropriator, which is the role of the Congress, and also the interpreter of the law, which is for the courts. Violations all over the map. He doesn't seem to care. Randy Zelin, thank you for being with us, and thanks for not wearing a suit on the show. You look great.